guys, welcome back to the workshop. Today I thought I would show you how you can easily and safely remove a nut on a guitar. And while we're at it, I'm going to make a new bow nut for this and basically get this guitar set up. I've done a refurbish video on this guitar a while back, but I thought it would be a good time to show you how you can easily and safely remove the nut up here. And we're going to take a closer look at that. So let me reposition the camera so I can show you from a better angle. Right guys, so seeing this from a better angle here, you can see that this particular type of guitar and headstock, it has no slotted channel like you see on Fender guitars, where the nut actually sits in between the wood and the headstock. This is more like your traditional Epiphone Gibson guitar, where you have perhaps the nut is just sunk in a little bit below the finish or the headstock veneer here, but nothing major, and we should basically be able to take that out easily just by scoring the edges around front and back and right here. And I suspect that I'm going to gently tap it out when I remove the strings and I have scored the edges. I'm just going to tap it out up here, and it's hopefully just going to break loose and come off without any finishing from the headstock come off. So as long as we score the edges, we should be good to go and spare ourselves the trouble of having to repair some of the finish, because it can happen sometimes if you don't score the edges. But I'm going to find the tools and we can take a look at those, and we are getting ready to score the edges. Okay, at a better angle here you can see what I'm doing. I've just taken a fresh razor blade here and we're going to score the edges. Right now I'm just concerned about scoring the bottom down here and the sides. And once I've taken the strings off, I'm going to bring you in a little closer and you can see how we score along the fretboard and along the back side where we have the finish up here. So I will take the knife here, and if I zoom in a little bit for you here, I'm going to go down here and just carefully insert the razor blade and just score lightly. And I'm not applying any force, I'm just trying to break any type of finish bond or whatever we might have in order for us not to get any chip out. So I'm just scoring a tiny bit, making sure that I'm not breaking any other part of the finish. And I'm just coming from the other side here, just scoring that as well. Right guys, so I'm back here at another angle, and we're going to score the front edge and the back edge of the nut here. So I'm just going to take the razor blade and make sure that I'm not scoring the actual wood itself. We're just going to lean the razor blade straight up against, making sure that we're only cutting out or scoring any wood squeeze out or finish. So we're going to lean it up against and just score it gently across. I'm going to do that a couple of times here. And that right there should be good. We can go to the back edge here and do the same thing. And if you're not comfortable doing this, you can always put masking tape across. But I've done this many times before, so I'm not concerned with that. Just going to score lightly on the first passes in order to get the razor blade to grab. From there we can always go back. And once you've done this a couple of times, you can go in and inspect, and just to make sure that every possible lagger edge is broken. And if I take you in here a little bit, you should be able to see that right there. We have a couple of lines here that are starting to break the nut loose. So we can now take a block of wood and try to give it, the knot here, a light tap to see if we can make it come out. I'm just going to find a small hammer here, and I'm just going to use my threading hammer. Just going to tap it lightly, and I have this chisel right here that I can show you with some protection on the front, and I'm just going to use that butt up against here, and we can start to knock out the knot. So I'm just going to give it a couple of light taps here. Right guys, so I just went back to score the edges a little bit more in order to ensure that we've got everything nicely scored and loosened up. And if the knot is starting to get too rough or too tough to pull out, I would highly recommend going back and score the edges. And again, using these tools right here, the hammer and this block of wood, we're not talking about using excessive force to hammer this out. It's gentle and light blows. And if you cannot do that, don't go any further. Then I would highly recommend that you take a small hacksaw and basically collapse this knot, which means that you take the hacksaw and you cut the knot in half, which will basically enable you to tap the knot from one side, break that, and basically let you be able to work it out that way. But as I said, I went back and scored the edges a little bit, made sure everything was good. I'm going to take the block and the hammer again. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. I'm just gently going to place it up here, and we're going to give it a couple of light taps with the brass side of this hammer. So let's see if that works. And I can see right now that it's starting to come loose. So if I take you in here, we zoom in a little bit, you should be able to see pretty clear that the edge is now coming loose, and I can actually pull my nail in there. So if we just tap a little more, see what happens. And if you heard that high-pitched sound right there, it was basically the glue bond, the glue bond breaking. And I suspect that I should be able to pull out the knot right now. So let me take you out a little bit here. And let's see. Okay, maybe we need to tap it a little bit more. Yeah, right there. It starts to loosen pretty well, and I can take it out right now. Just going to make sure that I have no problem getting it out. So I'm just going to take the razor blade again, just score lightly across. Yeah, right there, without any problems getting the knot out. And the knot is here.